Rachael Price and Bridget Kearney from Lake Street Dive. Welcome to Australian Musician.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Great to be speaking to both of you ahead of your Australian tour next month, kicking off with a big open air show at Melbourne's Royal Botanic Gardens, and then you're going on to play theatres in Sydney and Brisbane and Fremantle. It's been 8 years and 3 albums since Lake Street Dive last toured Australia. So my first question is, what took you so long?
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. It's far. It's very far. And I think the pandemic just set us back in all of our international travels, but now we're kind of back in the rhythm of everything and we're really excited to be coming back.
Now, very excited to have you back because the last time you toured here, you were playing all these folk festivals and mostly kind of smaller clubs and halls. I still have my signed CD from Oakley Music Hall. Met you guys there. And since then, your fan base has just grown exponentially, culminating with the big show at Madison Square Garden last year, headlining. Is there anything you've learnt or had to adjust to in going from smaller crowds to the bigger ones?
Yeah, I think in some ways we've tried to grow into the larger venues, got a little more production along with us, larger team of road crew helping us out. But then it's also been an interesting challenge to just like make those large spaces still feel intimate and personal. So yeah, we're always like finding ways to connect with the audience, whether it's like going into the audience or kind of asking for requests or just soliciting that kind of interaction that maintains a connection with the audience, even as the spaces have been growing.
Yeah, it seems like you're still making an effort to keep engaged with your fan base, especially with being active on social media. You got your pictures and reels from the road, and you're also keeping up a regular profile on YouTube with the songs from the road videos and the annual Halloween songs. How do you guys go about choosing what to share online or what songs you want to cover?
I feel like these days it's a more is more approach. We just kind of like, yeah, like on the last one of the last tours we did, we basically like every week we just like did another video if like we could find a cool space and we would just like do a slightly different version, maybe a more pared down and acoustic version. Yeah, like so much of our like growth as a band was like built on us making pared down videos to put up on YouTube. We just like had so much success, so we try and like keep that tradition alive. And yeah, I mean, occasionally we make one and we don't think it's good enough and we don't post it, but yeah, we just roll them out.
Yeah, it's like a fun creative process. It's kind of like tiring to add extra work to your schedule on the road to make things like that, but it's also energizing because it's, anytime you like engage with creating something and have something that you are proud of and excited about, then that's like energizing and kind of like keeps you inspired to keep doing that.
No doubt, and I'm hoping you guys can find some cool spaces when you're in here, especially at the Botanical Gardens, which is just a phenomenal venue, and to be part of this Live at the Garden series. I'm really looking forward to it. You're touring in support of your latest album, Good Together, which is a great record, one of my favorites of last year. You keep pushing yourselves forward, and it seems like you guys are very proud of it to the point where you're playing pretty much all the songs just about every night. Would I be right in saying that you guys are proud of it? Like, how do you feel about this one compared to your last few records?
Yeah, I think this one feels like fresh in a different way than our previous records. One of the things that we did differently on this is we collaborated in a different way, like writing the songs together. And so I think that it has a slightly different feel to it because of that. And it was the second time working with Mike Elizondo, the producer. And so that relationship was like a lot more enriched and like just, we were really in a flow the whole time. There was like no learning curve with him or like getting comfortable. We just kind of like dove right in and like started tracking the songs, and like it just felt really easy and good from the beginning. And I think that the other thing is like we came up with a sort of a general a theme, like an overall feeling to sort of blanket all the songs on the record, that being Joyful Rebellion. And I think we'd never really done that before. And that like it was cool to have that because it shaped the songs that we put on the record, it shaped how we produced it, then it shaped the show. You know, it shaped like the lights that we chose and the backdrop and just like how we present it. And so that's been like a really fun aspect of doing this album.
Yeah, I think joy's always been like a big part of your image and ethos as a band, and it seems like and it's really good when you lean into your strengths like that. Speaking of the songwriting, I know Bridget, you're a very prolific writer, and you and Aki seem to be the main, I guess, kind of writers in the group. And I heard in another interview about how you guys kind of embraced your inner Dungeons and Dragons nerdiness and used dice to determine the styles you'd write in. Can you talk to us a little bit about that process?
Yeah. So this was a Aki was kind of into Dungeons and Dragons pre-pandemic, but he really got me into it during the time when we were off from the road and stuck at home. He and I had a Dungeons and Dragons group that was meeting once a week, remotely on Zoom, for like 4 hours or so sessions, like once a week. And so, yeah, we really were getting into the dice rolling, the element of the unknown, the element of like embracing a little bit of chaos that it creates. And so we decided to bring it into the songwriting process and created a system where like you roll the dice to dictate the chords, the meter, and the tempo of a song. And then you kind of like write melodies and lyrics over top of that. Which, yeah, just really brought us to some new places. I think some good examples are like the song Walking Uphill, which Rachael wrote some of the first like melodies and lyrics for that one over top of something that we rolled dice for. And that's in like it's got some pretty wacky chords that we never would have written. But like when you can manage to take something like that and really make it pop and make it like still catchy and mean something, you know, lyrically, then that's like really special to sort of push yourself to some new places. Similarly, the song Far Gone, that one was the one where the tempo roll was just like higher than I think I've ever written a song. I've never written like a super fast song like that. And I found that I was able to do it. And I love playing it every night. Every time when we get to that song, I'm like, woo, feels good to be playing this fast, you know? So yeah, we just kind of like let the dice make some of those decisions for us, which also relieved us of some of those just getting the ball rolling type of feelings with songwriting, especially as a group. You know, you sit in a room just in long periods of awkward silence, and you're like, okay, we just need to like start somewhere. And so we let the dice start things off for us. I would say about maybe 50% of the songs turned out pretty good. And then some of them made the record. And there was definitely some that didn't work at all. But we just didn't put those ones on the record.
Give them to the save them for the other projects, save them for the side projects. Yeah. So Rachael, like aside from being the one who has to sing the songs, I guess where do you see your role within the creative process?
Well, yeah, we all kind of contribute to the songwriting process in different ways. I like particularly love to be able to collaborate with people in the band. Like I love like joining in the process of writing a song. Yeah, I mean, pretty much that. And then, yeah, the singing part is definitely the biggest part of what I do, which I find to be a really fun challenge because I have to sing in so many different styles. And it always like takes me like a few months sometimes to really figure out how to like deliver each of the songs, especially within a show, because it's like I'm just like wearing so many hats from song to song, but then also like making it feel consistent. It's really, really fun. I feel like very fortunate as a singer that I get to like do so much.
Yeah, it seems like you guys have got a really tight chemistry at the moment with all the shows that you guys are doing. And Now I wanted to ask about kind of how Aki joined the band because you had a lot of these extra keyboard parts on the early records, so I guess it was kind of a no-brainer that you'd eventually bring someone like him on the road with you. But how did you guys meet, and how did he eventually come to join the band as a full member?
We met Aki playing a show with him. We did like a co-bill in New York, and we didn't know him at the time, but we like immediately fell in love with his show and his musicianship. And so I think we all just became fans of him. Like I would go see him play live in New York a lot. And so we were gonna do a tour, and we just decided that it would be fun to bring a keyboard player on that tour. Like you said, our records we always had keyboard parts on the songs, and so we knew that that sound had a place on the in the show, but we just like had never had it, and so Bridget was suggested we ask Aki, and it was one tour. And we just were like, do you want to do this one tour with us? He said yes. We barely rehearsed. He just
Mhm.
like showed up on the first day, like got on the bus. I think he like watched that first show, and then the next day he was playing the show with us. And yeah, we gave him like very little rehearsal time. He was admittedly like terrified, he says, for those first like couple weeks figuring things out. But we instantly felt like a breath of like fresh air playing with him because uh, as a four piece, I think that we felt a need to like fill up all of the space all of the time. And when you're doing that all of the time, it sort of changes your priorities and how you're playing. And also like how many background vocal parts we were doing. There was just like a lot we were trying to achieve with the sound. And everybody got to like, play like I'd say like 20% less, having a keyboard player. And then we realized that with that 20% less, we had like so actually like way more opportunities and way more things that we could do within an arrangement. And then like Aki started singing, and that changed the whole vocal blend because his voice is like basically like putting butter on something. Like it just makes the whole thing come together. So all of a sudden, like our vocal blend was just like outrageous. And yeah, after that tour, we were like, oh, I think that we always want to play with Aki. And so we just like asked him every time we had a tour, we were like, do you want to come on the next? Do you want to come on the next? And I think we did that did we do that for like maybe a year? And
Year.
then he made Free Yourself Up with us. We were in the studio with him the whole time. And after that, we asked him, I was like, we sort of proposed bandship to him. Do you want to be in the band full time? And he was like, yes.
Yeah,
And yeah, he's been in ever since. That was
yeah, and just
that's 6 years ago or like 8 years ago. I don't. Yeah.
yeah. Well, it's been a while, yeah. But of course, the newest addition is James. Big shoes to fill with McDuck in my mind, anyway. What's the kind of dynamic that? What do you think he brings to the group?
James is an amazing guitar player and also an amazing singer. So yeah, once again, he kind of like, I don't think we wanted to like try to get a new McDuck, like because as you said, like he's such a specific player and he plays guitar and trumpet, which is a specific combo. And so like the goal wasn't to like create a direct copy of that, but to bring in something else. And so, yeah, James has like a whole different set of skills as a guitar player and as a singer that we're like now kind of learning how to make the most of those in the same way that we kind of like in the early stages of being a band, we're like figuring out like, okay, how do we best use Mike's drumming? How do we best use Rachel's singing? How do we make ourselves into a great band? So yeah, that's um, been going great, and we're like still learning new things about it, which is exciting. And yeah, everybody's just a great team player. I think that's so important with being a band. is like finding some balance, finding places where you can shine, finding places where you can be supportive. Like everybody's really good at that, thankfully.
Yeah, I remember seeing a version of Neighbour Song that you guys did at a festival a couple of years ago, and like the high bass part was missing, but James was just filling in the bottom end with this kind of low, this simple guitar, and it just gave the song kind of a different vibe, and it was just lovely. Now it's been a long time since you were last here. You obviously didn't tour for Free Yourself Up, and obviously, and you've got a whole bunch of songs that we'll be hearing live for the first time. Plus, we've got most of the Good Together album, but you've also got this big catalogue of fan favourites, and there'll be a lot of people coming to these shows who've never seen you before. So, how do you guys go about crafting a set list and kind of keeping a balance of the new and the old?
Yeah, I mean, we basically it's like we favor the new album, but an album is only like 45 minutes long and our show's 90 minutes, so we basically have like that much. We have at least half the set to choose, which sort of old songs that we want to do, and we kind of rotate some of them a little bit, like in certain spots, because we can't do them all. But yeah, I mean, it's like we always we aim to please. That's who we are as a band and as people, is that we're really, 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 really happy to play the songs that people want to hear. So it's like we always play Good Kisser, and we put Side Pony back on the set list because we knew people liked it, and it's fun to play. And like we were recently in Europe, and we were doing "I Want You Back" every night, and that was so much fun. I just like had no idea that people loved that song so much in Europe. I feel like we were getting a bigger response than we even get in the U.S. doing it, and so that was really great. So like obviously we just played it every night. It was so fun. Yeah, so that's a fun part, and that's like a really fun part about having been a band for this long, is just like the catalog, like accumulating, just like having so many songs to choose from.
Yeah, and something I can certainly relate to as a singer-songwriter myself, and started to grow songs. It becomes more about what not to play, and but no, yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys bring us over here. Uh, Before I go, guys, you were talking earlier about the message of hopeful rebellion, which I think is a great way of summing yourself up in two words. Your whole ethos seems to be about just having fun and spreading a message of love and unity through music. Do you have any words of advice for anyone who's kind of struggling at the moment or looking for their place in the world?
Yeah, I mean, I think like community is really what we need right now, and yeah, the I've been feeling that a lot in the setting of music. I think like it actually is like a really important thing right now, and just like being together in a space with people where you're sharing a moment together, you know, um, and that's what this album is all about. It's all about like reaching out to the people that are in a space with you and connecting, and finding ways that we can uh, build bridges,
And be good
and
together, basically. Yeah,
be good together. Exactly. Celebrate what we have in common.
absolutely. Yeah. Well, Rachel and Bridget, thank you so much for your time, and I can't wait to see you here next month.
Thank you.
Thank you.